Well, I don't know. We don't want anyone else. It's too late now. We'll come to the end of the thank you.
Okay, it's Wednesday afternoon, and we're in the heart of the GLA. That's the Assembly Room. This chap in front of you, a very familiar man, of course. We thought we'd mix it up a bit. We're normally on the roof of City Hall, but now we're actually in the chamber itself, the Assembly Chamber. Richard, it's a splendid building here, isn't it? And as you can see, these...
Yes,
acoustically,
it's quite amazing. From down here, if you go up almost to the 8th floor, the mayor's floor, if you even whisper down here, you will actually pick up the audio at the top. Again, it almost looks like a snail construction. Those were biology. The shape of the City Hall, it's like a sort of off-shaped snail. And the internal staircase, or ramp staircase going up, is like the inside of a snail or a mollusk or a shell of a type. If you follow around, you'll actually find these points on the floor that you can just probably about see in your camera with the silver rims are the power sections that feed into each of the desks, the monitors and the microphones of the members and guests and officials of the Greater London Authority and the Mayor's Department. The place is set up now for a meeting at 7 o'clock. If you go across with my hands pointing, you'll see where the audio equipment is, which deals with the cameras that monitor the speeches of the Assembly members and also that of Boris Johnson and his aides. It also deals with the time cut-off. As you all know, I get 6 minutes to question and respond to the Mayor's question time. Outside, you'll actually see the Tower of London, the slightly named Gherkin, NatWest Tower, and probably just to the right you'll see the edge of Tower Bridge by the pale blue and the internal buttressing to the gate in and out on the north bank of the Thames. And you'll actually see the Thames working away. People are now setting up here for this evening's meeting.
Yeah, it's just look, perhaps we'll walk a little bit more this way, because this, of course, is where you are normally. Yes. This is your position where your desk is it not?
I'll probably be pretty much sat around about here, at this point here.
And, of course, you're...
there, sat just to my right.
Yeah, Boris Johnson's normally there, isn't he? So that's what normally happens. Okay, it's not been a bad week, actually. I mean, you've managed to save £5,000, isn't it, a month?
June quarter, yes.
Yeah, that's obviously more than you earn. So you've earned your keep, saving the taxpayer about £5,000 a month. How have you managed that, Richard?
Again, it was a complaint through to Boris Johnson, and this 15,000, if I'm correct, went to the National Assembly of...
The National Assembly Against Racism,
National Assembly Against Racism, which I can't work out what it means. I mean, it seems there's more positive discrimination going on in this building still at the moment with Boris Johnson than anything I could even describe as being vaguely racist. Nationalist, without a doubt, but racist, no way whatsoever. So what was happening, this money was going out from the GLA's coffers, or shall I put it into another term, from council taxpayers' finances coming into the GLA and the working of London to actually sponsor a direct attack, not only myself as a British National Party representative, but actually attacking the fundamental structure of the working of the democratic process of City Hall and the GLA. It is against the Constitution for any finances to be used to directly attack the Mayor's elected members of the Assembly. So the comments put to Boris quite simply, this is unconstitutional, you have got to stop this finances right now. It came back in the last couple of days, I believe, and Boris simply said that no more finances will be going to this group of hypocrites and buffoons and anti-democratic body.
No, well, that's music to my ears. Certainly, so much money wasted. But the idea that the GLA's money can be used to undermine a member of the Assembly is simply ridiculous. And I say, thankfully, that's been stopped.
Well, there are more things coming out as well, but obviously I want to mention those only when the time comes up where we have evidence from Boris Johnson he's about to cancel these. But we are doing our job, and as you mentioned, I am actually doing the work elected, actually getting the wage I get, actually proving that we're actually benefiting.
Yeah, you've actually paid your worth in saving that money. Just in that one little facet, you've actually paid for yourself and more.
Yes.
One little bit of disappointing news, Richard. I know, unlike me, you are artistically minded, very much unlike me. Of course, I'm of a scientific persuasion, and it would have meant quite a lot to you to have been on the Arts Council, wouldn't it?
Yes.
And I know for a fact that there was a ruling which said that members from the Arts Council should come from the Assembly itself. Now, what's happened there?
What had actually happened is, on the first plenary meeting here of the GLA, once elected in June, it was suggested by Boris Said, feeding back down to the chairman of the Assembly, that 4 places, and this was going to be 2, then it's extended to 4 places, offered to the members to actually act as liaison, negotiators and voices representing the GLA on the London Arts Council.
Yeah.
Now, those that don't actually know me, or those that do know me, there's been the humorous element of filmmaking. Let's not laugh too much about that. But my art has been going through my life from the age of 10, my first exhibition. So from painting to sculpture, to theatre, writing, directing, fringe film, writing and directing, architecture, working with O'Hara, another big architects, the element of design, both interior and exterior design, in design of facets of three-dimensional work for commercial markets, to the ballet, to not so much opera, but a little touch on opera, but pretty much every discipline of the arts I've been involved with for the last 37 years. And I think Boris recognised the fact that if he had crossed me off the list and gave the 4 places to other people who have no art history at all, no work in the disciplines of the fine arts or structural arts, it would have been an embarrassment to him. So what he's decided to do with the rules that Ken Livingstone had structured in last year, 5 months before the elections of May this year, is to give the mayor more powers to structure decision-making on other facets of working with the GLA. So in a sense, putting it to simple terms, Boris Johnson has ripped back more power to himself, and his word is to throw the net wider afield. That means that the GLA and the government of the region of London will have no say on the Arts Council. Now let's think about this quite clearly. Can you imagine a liberal elite, corrupt, 40, 50 years of politics, ripping down the arts during the 20s to remove the intellectual prowess of the people's voice to arts, with people that the public represent as being the cultural element of their city and of the nation? Can you imagine that being ripped apart in the 20s, before even the unions were attacked, where education was attacked? Can you imagine a liberal elite set-up, a Rainbow Alliance, giving back the power to the people under a nationalist programme, the arts, which they destroyed in the 20s and early 30s? No.
It's safe to say you're not very happy about it, are you, Richard?
No, I'm not.
No, I don't blame you, to be honest. Just before we go, as people have obviously heard all this background noise going on, this is real television. It is the News of the World campaign against knife crime, by the looks of it, Save Our Streets. So these are the people setting this up. As we can see, it's quite a display, and there'll be 1 or 2 things going on here. You've pretty much put knife crime on the agenda here.
Yes, and 6 months ago we started with a project which was Mothers Against Knives. It wasn't until a few councillors in the North West were so patronisingly arrogant and petty about Mothers Against Knives that they'd apparently copywritten the slogan 2 years ago, to come back and say, well, Councillor Barnbrook, AC, and Assemblyman Barnbrook, we don't want you using that. So it's been changed. London's Mothers Against Crime, Against Knives, sorry. And this has been performed through East of London for the last 6 months, coming to a head, really, in the last month or so. And it's quite amazing how the rest of the population of London, I can only speak for, maybe the rest of the nation, have now picked up with what we set forward first. And it is quite clearly a serious issue. When you get members in the Assembly talking about bendy buses, should the uniform be this side, should the uniform be that side, should it be polka dot green, polka dot blue, should the route take this route or take that route, when the other Assembly members, with only 1 question going forward per month, saying, well, I think the word sustainability should be put back onto the agenda. Why has Boris removed it? This is nonsense. While this happens on a daily basis of murder of our youths on the streets, if Assembly members can only talk about petty issues against our youth and murder and also corruption and breakdown of the fabric of our society, then it's left to me to make the voice. And for 6 months I've been harping on about this, even prior to the elections. That was one of my manifestos going forward as the Mayor, and also representing us in the GLA, those that would or have been elected. And I'll continue this until my time is up, or the government, Brown and Boris, does something directly about this, be it custodial sentences or actually more hands-on stop and search. And again, prisons for whoever does it, regardless of age.